All right, time to suck today's dick.
What was that? Play that again.
No, don't.
Yes, play it again.
All right, time
Hold
to
on.
suck today's dick.
Wow. I did not know we had that as a new drop.
That was today.
Wow, Sam.
That was today.
Wow. I bet
It's
you're
from a movie.
I bet you're proud of
It's
yourself.
from a movie.
What do you think your family's reaction to that?
They don't watch this show.
Never?
No.
Katie does.
They don't know what I do for work.
All right. Well, we're here, but all of us are on the show today. We got 2 remote guests. We'll get to all of that. Today is our official men's Olympic hockey tournament preview show. We will begin talking about this tournament, which starts for the men on Wednesday, the women playing right now on DLLS right now. Just admiring a thumbnail. It's a good-looking thumbnail.
You gotta get excited.
Welcome to the DLLS Stars podcast on Monday, February 9th. Inside our lounge studio, we have Sam Nestler. I'm Owen Newkirk, and our producer is Ryan Vaughters. But we are not just the 2 of us today, as we go to parts unknown.
Wow, this is fun to
Craig
be on this side of
Ludwig
this.
on remote in Wisconsin. Sean Shapiro, I would say on remote, but always in remote
Yes.
in Detroit.
And looking very fashionable.
Gentlemen, you look warm for
like Tom
colder
Selleck.
weather. Do you know it's going to be 80-something degrees here this afternoon?
I walked the kids to school in 6-degree weather this morning. So
6
that's
degrees.
6. That's crazy.
Why did you walk in 6 degrees? That's not worth are you trying to build character?
we have the other people may have we don't have like the never miss school streak that some people have, but I have my daughter's now in 2nd grade, and rain, wind, snow. The school is only half a mile from our house, so we have never. on principle, I have never driven the half mile to take them to school. So it is no matter how cold
You skate
it is. We haven't skated it there. The road hasn't been, but we.
Okay.
Not like the
but
ice
yeah,
we
it's-
get
Is that
in
like
yet.
Minnesota when they do that?
No,
Like,
it's
skate to school, or
I mean,
I think
they
you're
also
thinking
have
of a
like.
movie, perhaps.
I don't know.
There's also salt. Like they actually prepare and salt roads.
Oh,
and do
no
all of
way.
that stuff, too. Like
I was out there with my salt shaker trying to
And they
get our
plow
driveway.
roads.
out.
It's
Yeah,
all good
that's
stuff.
crazy.
Well, we're glad to have you both. Luds, you are going to be remote for the next couple weeks because between snowmobiling
What
in
an ass.
Wisconsin and a big tournament in Blaine, Minnesota, you have to be up north. I would have guessed that the weather is a little different where you are now than it was before you left Dallas.
Yeah, but it's a lot warmer than it is where Sean is. Apparently, I mean, we got a lot of snow, but I mean, it's nice. It's right now. It's like 30, 33 or something like that. 32.
you
Perfect.
got double digits.
Yeah,
You got
it
double
was,
digits.
I mean, at night, it gets down 9, and then any wind chill and stuff like that. But yeah, and actually this week it's supposed to be a couple days are going to be like 33, 34, but and then some snow too. So that's nice. It's better for riding. You're not freezing too bad at night. This is all good. It's always coming back late at night. That's when it gets a little nippy.
Hey, Ryan, are we going to get in trouble for copyright because Lud's TV is behind him? Luds, you got to turn your TV off.
You're not serious.
No, dead serious.
Dead serious.
I've been told that multiple times.
of a
You
rebroadcast.
can't have a broadcast on
God,
the live show. That's hilarious.
That's perfect. So
I
he's
was
going to
thinking
go
about
shut
it.
that off before we get caught by
Now
something.
you get a good look at Lud's
Nice little space there.
office room.
And see if he can figure out how to use the remote to
It's
turn
the
TV
third
off.
remote,
No,
Luds.
it's that one. Hey,
Fios.
hey, Sean, let's enjoy the math for a second, because if you
Yes.
double your temperature, you get Ludz's temperature, and if you double Ludz's, you get close to ours. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
Yeah.
fun and games.
It is all fun and
I'll be
games.
having
Well,
more fun at my temperature.
We are going to do most of our show talking about the Olympic men's hockey tournament, which starts on Wednesday. But before we get into that, as we do every week, it's 3 stars of the week time. So let's start with our 3 stars. This will cover the last 2 Dallas Stars games, Winnipeg and St. Louis, before the break. Guys, unless you have an objection, I'm assuming next week we should do 3 stars of the week based on Olympic performance, right?
Yes.
Because then we'll have
Makes
games
sense.
to talk about.
Would they be Dallas Stars still, or would it
Shouldn't they
be
be?
any Olympic
Well,
stars?
I'm
of the week?
open for discussion here.
Yeah,
What do you think?
maybe just general Olympic stars. of the week.
Sometime before we get back, the game start. I want your 3 stars of the first half of the season.
Oh, we want to go fancy. Ryan with the big ideas. Okay, we
I
can
like
do
it.
that.
I like that.
We're talking about 3 Dallas Stars for that one, yeah? Okay. So let's
Justin
start like we always do, right? Let's do the can we guess Ludz's guess before we get his reveal at the end. So
He doesn't look like he
he's
was
shaking his
too
head.
dicey
So
today.
Ludz, why don't you intro what we are about to see?
No reveal. It's just I did what you guys do, the boring stuff.
Okay.
Oh.
So
I think-
no surprise.
Craig. And that's Craig's. How was it, hun?
My fingers are fucking freezing.
Oh, that means you don't have the proper gloves.
I didn't. I was just going to pick it up, and I decided to go for a ride, so I didn't have the good gloves. So they were cold. I didn't realize.
That's amazing. The good gloves, Sam. If you, I know you spent a little time in New Jersey, so you had to deal with some cold weather, right?
Yep, lots of it.
Right. And of course, Sean lives up there. I grew up there. The difference between the proper set of whether it's gloves or mittens versus the ones that look like they can handle it, and I mean that makes or breaks an outdoor adventure. All right.
If you're talking to me, I wasn't listening. So go.
That's
ahead.
okay.
Facts.
Let's go.
Let's get them.
All right. So let's start with. Should we do the villains then?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with the
Let's go
villains.
to Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck.
Who?
Sean's
Selleck.
3 villains of the week. Sean, take it away.
We're going to go with, this week, we're going to go with Luke Shen, who had 4 hits in the game against Dallas. Then we're going to go with Justin Falk. And then we're going to go with Logan Stanley. And then there is something, I don't have there's no big reveal on this one, but there is something thematic about the connection for all 3 players there's something that all 3 players have in common that I wonder if you guys can pick up on here.
Future Dallas Stars.
Wait a minute. Go back on that. I want to tease Ryan for a second. Is that Logan Stanley? It doesn't look like
That looks
Logan
like
Stanley.
Gabriel
That's not-
Velarde.
Doesn't that look like that? That's
Yeah,
Gabe Velarde.
That's Gabe Velarde.
I was going to say he's number 13.
Yes.
No.
I blame you. The photo services are very bad at.
Isn't
No.
Stanley
Also, to be clear,
Stanley's
I'm
67
gonna
or something.
bail Ryan out. This is he sends it to me to check, so that is also I didn't.
You didn't check
it as well.
I've
I
never caught any of the errors when he does this. That
So this is I'm going to take the L on this one for not catching it when Ryan sent it to me for review. So that's protect the producer on this one.
I love it.
But what do Sam kind of got it there? What do these 3 gentlemen have in common?
Trade
Besides,
targets.
they all played against the Stars in the past week.
I believe they are all trade targets that could fit well in this
They
Dallas
are
Stars
all
team.
They are all could make this defense potentially tougher and more difficult to play against in certain areas of the ice. So with the Stars winning both games and not super easy to pick villains, I went with guys who had games that maybe you wouldn't mind taking them. So
I love it. Luds, who would you pick of those 3? If you could take one of them.
For the Stars.
Yeah.
Let me see him again.
Ryan, can you pop them back up?
No, he's in the middle.
No.
He's in the
Ryan's
middle
in
of
the
trying to replace him
Logan
right now.
Stanley, Justin Falk, and Luke Shen.
I think for what Dallas, I like Falk. Logan Stanley to me has been so much better. I mean, this year, doesn't he have like 10 goals or 11 goals or something stupid like that?
I think he has 9.
And he's a Bishel size. So, but I think an all around guy, and again, Falk isn't a number 1 power play guy. He's a number 2, I believe. But I do like his game a little bit more. Complete game, all around game.
Yep.
Do you guys?
I agree mainly because Justin Falk of those three is probably the only one that fits as number 4. Maybe, like you said, Stanley's having a better year than he typically does. So maybe you could have him fill that spot. But generally, you see him playing in the third pairing with Winnipeg. Luke Shen, bottom pairing Winnipeg, sometimes playing together.
Yeah.
There he is. That's the big lug.
There it is.
I just think that if you're trying to get one of those, like, I'm not saying that Stanley or Shen wouldn't make your team better, but they have a lot of those.
They're your 5 or 6, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, while marginally increasing your third pairing, maybe, I would say Justin Falk is the no-brainer.
Yep.
Right? You agree?
Yeah, I would. Stanley, to me, at least, intrigues me just from the fact he's 27. He's a UFA after this year. To me, Stanley is the one that's just perhaps the most intriguing because I think the price would be low as a rental, and I could find out over the next couple months whether he fits or not. And I don't think if I let him walk or anything, I don't think the cost would be that big. I could justify that. So
yeah,
Stanley
and the size
more
too, right, Sean? Like, as much as
Yeah.
he may be your 5 or 6, I would take him over Ilya Lushkin or those ones in the playoffs.
Hey, does his being left-handed concern anybody? Since we always seem to have a abundance of lefties.
Ask the two on the big screen about this. I'm the one that always pushes it
I don't really
back
care.
against
Ever.
this.
I don't really care anymore, to be honest. I think that there are certain guys who play better with someone that's right-handed. Luds, you talked about playing with both sides, but I don't think that it really matters nearly as much anymore. I mean, you already have your top guy on the wrong side.
Shen would be a good partner with Harley for me. I just think that there's your top 4 kind of thing where the other guy. Well, anyway, but hopefully they get something.
That's potentially 6 lefties.
I know. Just, really, in theory, could. All right, Sam, your picks.
Yes. Let's hit him up, Ryan. Ryan's texting. Hold on.
He's trying to give Luds a heads up about something.
Ryan's yelling at Luds. All right. I'll start with 3. Speaking of Thomas Harley, huge week for him. The overtime game winner looked like old school Thomas Harley, and I just really thought he's taken steps offensively, but a little more confident pushing the puck up the ice. But also he's eliminated a few of the egregious mistakes. I don't see as many defensively, maybe not as much in terms of handling the rush, but in terms of getting the puck up the ice, the stuff he was good at. I haven't seen as many of the "what are you doing" kind of plays in the breakout and things like that. So I've liked his progress. And then speaking of the overtime goal, Matthew Shane with the perfect backhand saucer pass to set up that goal from Harley. Duchesne has been, we know the numbers, but he has been on a new level. And I think along with number 1 there, Jamie Benn, who has a little extra giddy up as well as some offense, those two, as we talked about last week on Friday or whatever day that was, those two have driven this team to a new level. So I'm giving them the credit for both points and what they've brought to this team as well.
Well, Luz has got the airline pilot hat on now, which is nice. He's getting ready to travel off on a jet plane.
It looks very similar.
They do, actually.
That's what I was thinking. Then I'm not even doing the merchandise read, so that was a waste of time.
You are now flying Spirit Airlines.
Yeah.
So my picks are exactly the same as yours.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. And for all the same reasons. I could go over and say the same things, but you already said it all, right? So kudos to those
in the
three.
same order, too.
In the same order. All 3 of them very important for those games this past week. And all 3 of them had underwhelming starts to the season for one reason or another. And all 3 dealt with injuries of varying degrees. So good to see them doing that. Maybe this is a bad time for a break, but as Lud said earlier, maybe not, because breaks are always good for mental, if not physical. So Luds, we picked the exact same. What about you?
I got a bad feeling on this one.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. It's a sweep.
Of course.
It's a sweep. That would have been really funny, Ryan, if you just put a different picture of each one. So the same name.
That's just more work.
Oh, that's awesome. There you go, Luds.
The one for me that's I don't want to say more important, but is Jamie Benn being in that number 1 spot. I know I had him there a week or 2 ago, and not number 1, but 2 or 3. Of course, for Matt Duchesne, because I think he's finding his mojo a little bit. But sometimes there's naysayers that Ben can't do this and can't do that, and Jamie's he's got a little bit of a younger bounce in his step. It seems like lately.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. We've all picked the exact same 3 stars of the week.
I love that.
Except for Sean, who picked the villains. And the Bane mask.
That's another thing that he looks like, right? Is Bane.
Okay.
I said he looked like Tom Selleck. Is Tom Selleck the guy who plays Richard in Friends?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was
Magnum
making,
PI.
I was just making sure I was thinking of the same person. Huh?
I don't think Sean looks like
Isn't that
Tom
Tom Selleck?
Selleck. You know, he needs the mustache.
He needs a mustache, but
No,
he's got facial hair.
Okay.
I just think he should have it
You
popped.
think anyone with facial hair looks the same?
No. The jacket is the reason.
There's
I'm
a
just
quote
adding
from the
that you
movie
have
Role
it.
Models about Ben Affleck that I want
Yes.
to say, but I'm not going to. So
No.
let's talk about the Olympics next on the DLS Stars podcast.
What kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? I had many, but like most people, they slowly started to go away because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough. But unlike a lot of people, I found ways around that and found ways to still be involved in the cool things I wanted to do by starting my own business and writing about it or talking about it on podcasts. If you're looking to start your own business, Shopify is here to help you, because Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses all around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Guess what? Shopify even powers the DLS merch store right here. All the cool shirts, the hats, all the cool stuff here at DLS, because Shopify lets us do it on our shop and makes it so easy. They have got you covered website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and plenty more. So if you are ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
We had a great time out at Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market in Louisville on Saturday. And I hope that everybody that came enjoyed seeing me or Sam or Ben or Bobby and enjoying delicious meat, seafoods, all sorts of different stuff. And of course, getting great deals. Do you know right now that with Valentine's Day coming up, that Wild Fork Foods has some great deals for that special someone in your life? Salmon pinwheels with lobster stuffing, $5 a piece. Lobster tails, $7.98 per tail. Beef tenderloin medallions, just $10 per piece. You can save 10% when you buy 2 USDA choice beef picanha steaks. Save 9% when you buy 2 bacon wrapped beef tenderloins. I mean, bacon wrapped around tenderloin. How can you go wrong? Argentine red shrimp, just $11.98 a pound. And don't forget dessert, $6.98 chocolate lava cake. Sam actually bought some and took it home with him. So 9 area DFW locations. Frozen is fresher at Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market. Check them out at wildforkfoods.com. All right. We lost Luds here, but that's okay because we have a great comment from Harry in the chat. Sean, Harry wrote, Stalin had facial hair. Does Sean look like Stalin? We're laughing because no, he doesn't look like Stalin.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Sam also has facial hair. So according to Sam's logic,
Guys,
he could
the
be
facial
Stalin.
hair was the second part. The jacket
all have
the jacket
facial
was.
hair.
I just sent Ryan a picture of why I'm saying it, and it's because there are many pictures of Tom Selleck wearing that jacket.
And Luds, I'm figuring that when you're whipping
Doesn't have a hood
around,
on it though.
Luds, I figure facial hair probably helps
Now he looks
block
like a
a little of that
stalker.
wind. Yeah, he looks
Now
a little
Sean looks
Unabomber
like a
with that.
stalker down there.
All right, let's before we get into the Olympic preview, or the men's Olympic preview, I wanted to talk briefly about the women so far because I don't know how much you guys have watched, but everything that I've seen, the U.S. and Canada women's hockey teams look the part of the favorites by a long shot. I mean, they've been dominant so far. The USA Finland was probably not totally fair in the sense that Finland was dealing with the norovirus, which is not something you want to mess around with.
Including the goalie who was handling 38 shots or whatever it was.
And I've got, actually, the U.S. is playing right now as we do our show live against Switzerland, and they have a 1-0 lead, but they are peppering. I mean, what was the Canadian game the other day? They had 55 shots or something like that. It looks like those are the Class 2 teams, right, as we would expect.
In the last 10 years or so, has there ever been a championship where those aren't the two teams in the finals?
I don't think so. You?
I mean,
Not
unless
that I can remember.
other countries are catching up, they're head and shoulders above everybody.
There are,
But
from what I hear,
country.
it's been between, I want to say Sweden. It's Sweden and Finland were always the battling for
like
the
the
bronze.
bronze.
But now there's, I can't remember. There's one other team now that's jumped into that. Czechia, maybe,
or the Swiss.
One other team that now has started to really jump into that battle. Other than that, though, it's always been the top two, and then that next tier of 3, and then everyone else.
Sean, you're around USA Hockey a lot, especially in Michigan. I don't know how much you get to interact with the women's programs, but I mean, one of the things, Luds, I'm going to make a soccer reference, so don't lose it. But one of the reasons why the United States and Canada have been so good in this discipline is similar to why the U.S. has been dominant in world soccer for so long is opportunity and infrastructure for women.
Well, real quick on a quick update. It was 2006 was the only time that there was a non-USA Canada final. That was, I believe, Sweden upset the United States in the semifinal, and then Canada beat Sweden for the gold in 2006. So that's the only time it hasn't been USA Canada for the Olympics. And to Sam's other point about I know the Czechs had a rough showing the other day, but the Czechs have been the program that's taken one of the biggest steps in the past couple of years, and actually real good story there with the coach of the Czech team is named Carla McLeod. She is also the coach of the PWHL team in Ottawa, and she's been the coach for the Czech national team for a couple of years now. I actually heard her speak a couple of years ago, and so she juggles handling the PWHL team and the Czech national team, and someone who's actually been battling breast cancer right now. So like we're watching talking this show, and we have a soft spot for Team USA winning things. I watch the Czech team, and that's a story that I root for there with the Czech team. But yeah, it's with women's hockey. They always run into the problem of how do you raise the boats for everyone else without just Canada and the United States getting further and further up there. It's the whole, it's kind of it's an interesting problem that I don't know how you fix it exactly. I will say the PWHL stuff has really helped to raise the profile for other leagues, for other countries. All of a sudden there's been opportunities that Finnish women, Swedish women to play in an elite league and push things higher. But until it's going to be a long, long time before it's anyone other than USA and Canada in that top two conversation.
Yeah,
so
random fact that I learned. I don't know if you knew this, Sean, being around the USA Hockey stuff, but the Hughes brothers' mom, Ellen, works for USA Hockey women's team as I want to say something consultant, player development consultant or something like that. And someone told me I think she was on the bench for one of their games this week. So I thought that was pretty cool. Unique story with the women's team as well.
All right.
Are the other women in other countries getting paid also? Like the U.S. and Canada women
to play in the Olympics?
No, not the Olympics. Just do they play in a professional league? The other women.
So it depends on it depends on the country, right? Like so, most of the for example, most of the Czech team plays in the PWHL already, so they're playing in this. That's why we just talked. There is a Swedish. One of the better leagues is, I believe, the women's Swedish league is one of the second best leagues in the world is when it comes to women's hockey. So there are opportunities. But it's not nearly. We're still in the fledgling stage of that right now. So.
All right, let's transition over to the men's game for a minute, or not a minute, for this big preview, because this is what we're focusing on the next couple of weeks, because NHL players playing in the Olympics for the first time since the Sochi Games in 2014. And for those of you, we're just going to do a quick bit of formatting, and then we'll talk about the rosters and stuff in a moment. For those that don't know, this is a 12-team tournament, and the first 7 were picked based on their 2023 IIHF World Rankings. That was Canada, Finland, US, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, and Czechia all qualified because of their world rankings in 2023. Then Italy, being the host country, they automatically qualified. And then the last 4 teams of the 12, Slovakia, Latvia, Denmark, and France, qualified in Olympic qualifying tournaments. So then they were put into 3 groups, and Ryan has the groups for you. As you'll see, there are basically going to be 3 4-team groups, and they're going to play round robin, which means everybody will play 3 games in the round robin stage of the tournament. So once they get through that, this will be, and I love this, the 3-point system, which means 3 points for a regulation win, 1 point if you are tied, and then 1 for each team, and then an additional point for whoever wins either in overtime or a shootout. And of course, 0 points if you lose in regulation. At the end, this is where it gets a little interesting. All 12 teams, even after the round robin, still have a chance to win the gold medal, because after the round robin, the top 4 teams will automatically qualify for the quarterfinals, where the other 8 will play in basically a qualifying playoff round, single elimination, and the winner of those 4 games goes on to play the 4 teams waiting for them in the quarterfinals. And Sean, you actually caught us on that because it's not reseeding for the quarterfinals, but after the quarters, it will be reseeded for the semis, which will then be considered the medal rounds.
Yeah, it's important. It's to put more value on the group stage. So basically, the teams are seeded 1 through 12, and those seeds come back into play. So after the quarterfinals, the 1 will play the lowest remaining seed, 2 will play the second. So it's done that way to I guess reward the group play. Personally, I got real quick note for you guys. I'm just curious, and I'd have to go through and math to make it. I just don't like the idea that everyone advances. I feel like the last place team in every group should be knocked out. Like I just like, for me, it's if you go 0-3, you shouldn't have an opportunity to play
straight to jail
playoff.
Yeah, I kind of I get that, but they're just trying to create more games, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's take out 12. So 12, it would be.
What you need, Sean, is you need to add 4 more countries, have 16, eliminate 4 out of the round robin, and then you could do the same format you have now.
Or you just go 5, or we could figure it out, and
if you still want that play-in round, is basically what I'm saying.
Otherwise, it's just quarterfinals.
They would just go right to the quarters. Otherwise,
yeah, that's a good point, lads. They want their hosts to play extra game.
They want to, Italy will get 4 games,
smacked
right?
by somebody.
I think it's important for everybody to know about the overtime format because it is a little bit different, but somewhat similar. In regulation play, they will, meaning the round robin, and I believe maybe I'd have to double check on that. I think the qualifying playoff, they go differently. So they play 5 minutes of 3-on-3 overtime in the round robin. And then if not, they'll go to a shootout. By the way, shootouts are 5 shooters, not 3 like the NHL. 5 different shooters. Now, if you get past 5, then you can do the same guy like TJ Oshie versus, was it Datsuk?
It was
right?
Datsuk, yeah.
Datsuk Oshie, where they just went every.
That was awesome.
When it's tie-breaking shootout rounds, you can do the same guy over and over again. But you need 5 different shooters if you do go to a shootout. In the playoff games, which is the qualifying playoff round, quarterfinals and beyond, they'll play 10 minutes of 3-on-3. Sudden death.
That was 4 nations, right?
If not, then they would go to a shootout. I believe the gold medal game will do 20 minutes, and then I think they still would do that.
Is it 3-on-3 in the gold medal game too?
Yes.
Dumbly. Very dumb.
Wait,
yes.
They don't do. Do they do a shootout for the gold medal too?
No, but it's just 20 minutes of 3-on-3.
It's just continuous 3-on-3. Which is kind of cool, but like
yes, they will continue us on in the gold medal game, but everything else up to that, I believe there will be a shootout.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
The interesting thing here is that they don't change ends 3-on-3. Like the NHL, you have the long change when they go to the 3-on-3 overtime, so it does create a little that interesting sort of how do you get to the bench is a little bit more challenging. They're not going to do that for the Olympics. They have the short change, which again. Short when you're in your D zone, but if you're in your offensive zone, it's a longer change back and whatever. So how do you guys feel about these rules and procedures? We'll talk about the rosters in our next segment, but do you like how this is? Do you have any issues with it?
I don't have any issues with it personally. I don't like the not changing ends because that just prolongs the games. I mean, you want to get them over with quicker, and then when there's no shootout, and I just saw the little thing that Ryan popped up there about Robo. I just wonder, we know how good Robo is, and is that part of, if it's coming down to it, is Robo not as needed from a, that shouldn't be the single thing that he does, but he's damn good at it. Because of the format, who thinks that they're not going undefeated in the first round? They're going to go 3-0, right? So was Canada. So you don't need Robo there. What about the second one? And isn't that going to be finished? Would you say the second part of that is going to be 10 minutes and then a shootout?
Yep.
A 3-on-3.
Yep.
Do you not think that's going to be finished probably there and it's not going 10 minutes and then a shootout?
You would think so.
Yeah. I don't think any.
I just wonder, and then what you're talking about the finals, there is no shootout.
Yep.
I just wonder if you're weighing the people that you're selecting to be part of your team. Not that this is any excuse for Billy Guerin or anybody else. if does the shootout, does that player that he's really good at, does that kind of put a little notch, I guess, in the other column?
Yeah, I think to Lud's point, right? Like if USA Hockey has a shootout in this tournament, it'll be stunning because that means they'll have something will have gone horribly wrong in group play, or if I just don't see how NHL players go 10 minutes without somebody scoring in 3-on-3. Like that's just
Yeah.
So.
It's
Didn't
ludicrous
like
that
the
it
first wasn't like Sweden, Canada, didn't that go for like 8 minutes in Four Nations and then they scored? I think that was the longest of any of them at the Four Nations, but you're right. It shouldn't. You should not make it 10 minutes with 3-on-3 without scoring a goal.
All right. Up next, we're going to talk about who we think is favored in the groups. We have, I believe, line combinations for 7 of the 12 teams, including all the ones that we probably would expect to be of the favorites. We're going to talk about all of that here as we continue our Olympic preview on the DLLS Stars podcast.
Okay. Not really.
That's pretty good, eh?
This picture reminds you that you should go to our website right now, alldlls.com, and get some fantastic merchandise. I mean, I don't actually think we sell the Sean Bain face mask.
We could.
We probably
Yeah, we
should,
could.
and maybe we should make a new shirt of Sean Bain or Bain Sean, whoever you want to call him. But I'm wearing one today, one of the classic Texas DLLS shirts. This is actually one of our Stars shirts. So it's just because it just says DLLS on it. It's actually Stars Hockey. It's the green. Sam's wearing the, as Luds calls it, the Cadillac hat, which is one of the hat collection here at DLS. T.O. was at our Wild Fork Foods meat and seafood market appearance on Saturday wearing the white hat. It looked great. You saw him.
Yep.
Yeah. And of course, we have all sorts of other shirts. The Finnish Mafia hoodie is a particularly popular one right now. Limited quantity, so don't hesitate. Get it as soon as you can. Diehards get 20% off, but they probably won't be re-up, so you might as well grab one while you can. They're very soft. They look great. That's all I have to say about it.
If you have ever wanted to hear Craig Ludwig swearing for 7 minutes straight, you can join the YouTube Supporters Club right now, right in there in the YouTube chat of our show, and you will get exclusive badges. Exclusive badges,
We don't need no badges.
for you, Harry. Exclusive emojis like the Luds, the Stanley Cone, all kinds of cool stuff, but also the behind-the-scenes videos, which are the best part, let's be honest, of this whole thing. Craig Ludwig doing ad reads, completely off the rails, screaming at Tanner. It's one of the better videos we've ever released, and you only get it if you're a part of the Supporters Club. Plus, you get all the other cool stuff, and when you have the badge and you have the emojis, you pop out in the chat. So when things start to really roll here after the Olympics and the playoffs, and we have all the chats coming in really fast, really easy to see yours, and you stand out. So join today.
All right. Ryan, would you put the group round robin groups graphic back up on the screen, please? There we go. Take a look at that, guys. As you can see, Canada's with Switzerland, Czechia, and France. Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, and Italy are Group B, and then the U.S. in a group with Germany, Latvia, and Denmark. So now that you've seen who's in which groups, I want to go around the panel here before we look at individual rosters and just who do you find as the favorite to emerge from the groups and, of course, to be in the medal round? Sam?
I think the top on each is going to be the top advanced. Canada, Finland, and United States, I think, win their group. And then I'm going to go with, it was one more that gets a bye, right?
The fourth best record.
I think that's going to be Sweden. I think that Czechia is the other team. That it's usually, as I was mentioning, same with women's, right? It's usually, depending on that year, the Sweden, Russia obviously not being in it takes a huge team out of it. I saw a graphic the other day of the team that would be for Russia. Holy crap, is that a good team?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Look out when they get back
Yep.
in here. But I think it's always Sweden, Czechia kind of battling for that spot. I think Sweden's got a deeper group. I think EK65 is going to go off for Luds, and that's going to be the 4th seed in that.
Yeah. I think that Sam's right in that Canada, US, and one of Finland or Sweden will be the group winners, because I think that the other teams are going to get feasted on, with the exception of, maybe Switzerland or Czechia might surprise.
Are the two, right?
And maybe Germany, because Germany will probably beat Latvia and Denmark. We'll see.
I think Draisaitl is going to play 40 minutes.
But as I look at this, I feel like 1, 2, and either Finland or Sweden as 3 are pretty easy. Picking 4 could be interesting just because it, as Sean, you mentioned this, it kind of goes down to goal differential and the tiebreakers. And I think there will be some interesting mid-level matchups here, either in the group stage or in that preliminary round before we get to the quarterfinals.
You are pretty confident that Finland's ahead of Sweden? And I know with all due respect, we have a lot of okay, that's the
no.
Kind of,
I'm confident that the winner of Group B will be either Finland or Sweden, but I'm not sure which.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
I think they'll feast on the other two, and then it will really be, whoever wins maybe their head-to-head game that decides it in the group. But what I'm saying is that once you get past the group winners, whoever's going to be the number 4 team, it might not be the loser of Finland, Sweden based on goal differential.
Oh, I think you talked about that 3-2-1 point system. I actually think it will be, because I think that game goes to overtime. Oh. So I think Finland, Sweden go to overtime, and I think USA and Canada both go 3-0. So that would be my crystal ball prediction of how things go.
Who do you pick? Finland and Sweden.
Group play, Sweden.
Okay.
And then I think Finland goes further in the actual tournament.
Luds, when you look at all those teams, which teams are you? I mean, are you sticking with USA, Canada as the 2 best, or do you think there's a surprise there?
I think you're foolish not to. I mean, when you look at these rosters, I was going to say Germany's going to beat the U.S., but I think that would be ludicrous. So, and when you say the 4 teams, I agree with the 4 that Owen, both you and Sam had said.
All right, well, let's take a look at some rosters here. And Ryan, let's start with the 2 favorites, USA and Canada, and whichever order is fine. But we're starting to see, because of practices over the last couple of days, and okay, we'll do the U.S. here first. It's the Tkachuk brothers with Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews centering a line with Gensel and Boldy, Kyle Connor with Dylan Larkin and Tage Thompson. I think our most polarizing player probably for the U.S. right now is JT Miller playing on the wing with Nelson and Jack Hughes. And then I don't know about you, Luds, but the defense just looks stacked, so right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we know about Hughes. I mean, just look at Hughes, Faber, and Werenski, right? And then all of a sudden you throw in Slavin. And has he played a few games now? Because I know he was injured. Has he come back and played a couple games? I don't even know.
I believe he's ready. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's played games, right? I know he's ready, but he's played games.
Sam is looking it up right now.
Yeah, he played. He played a bunch. He's played at least the last 5.
Okay. And then I saw McAvoy got dinged up a little bit, but his
face almost exploded.
They've got a good combination of some offensive guys, obviously a shutdown guy or two, and the way that some of those guys are playing some of the best hockey of the season right now.
And that was when you go back to 4 Nations, the way McAvoy played in the round robin against Canada, and the way he, especially against McDavid, really stood out. He wasn't available for the final. I think they really missed him for that.
Yeah, they had a couple. Slavin was the other one where I didn't know these players were as good defensively. McAvoy, you've seen what he can do. Right. He's got the offense. He's skilled, but the way he was able to defend and the way Slavin was able to defend with his stick makes me more confident on this team defending Canada, because really, that's what this team's built for, as Leds always talks about.
Sean, when you see that group for the U.S., I mean, we've talked about rosters before, but it lines up to be maybe the best U.S. team we've ever seen.
Yeah, and I think obviously everyone on this show for the next couple of weeks is always going to make comments about what someone else who could have been on there, but I think I think one of the things we have to do is do our best to talk about the roster that's been built and just talk about what's in front of us. And I look at this team, and for me, how this team is built defensively, you look at it's so much. It seems so well built on each pair. You've got guys who can move the puck, and you have centers on this team that know how to come back and get it, bring things into transition. And then basically the wings are just a bit of chaos. And I say this positively. The wings are more of chaos incarnate positively. And so that this team is, I look at this team a lot where this U.S. team, based off that talent pool and based off its built, it seems like, okay, a lot of this, you're going to run things from the back. You're going to build up in transition. You're going to get things going. And then obviously on the first line, it's the Tkachuk brothers. But throughout, all of those wingers seem to be built to go and punish players down low after coming through a smaller neutral zone. And so you can see the vision with how this can work and how you can win a bunch of hockey games. My one caveat that I would quickly add to the graphic is, and I know this wasn't ours, this was Daily Faceoff where we got this graphic from, I think. As Luds said in a show before, are we sure Jeremy Swayman shouldn't be on the graphic? Or are we sure Jeremy Swayman's a locked in number 3 on that? Because he was.
Well,
I'm definitely not.
Sean, I'm glad you brought that up because the reporting out of Milan was that Hellebuck had his own net for practice for Team USA, and that Swayman and Ottinger were sharing the other net, which is typically goalies 2 and 3. But who's 2 and who's 3? That's a very fair question.
Well,
I don't know.
Those two are also friends and get along, and maybe they just didn't want to hang out with Connor.
They just didn't like Hellebuck. I want to say one thing about that I hope to see from this tournament is what we saw at Four Nations, which is Jack Eichel playing free and loose. Because he's got the Kachucks on his wing.
Mm-hmm.
When Eichel is playing with guys like that,
He's a great player.
He's such a good player no matter what, but he should be a big-time factor for this U.S.
Let's,
team.
aside from Jason Robertson, which I don't know any Stars fans are not going to be able to get over that unless the U.S. wins gold. But when you look at that group of forwards and how they're laid out, and Ryan, pop that up one more time if you would, please. As you look at that, Luds, are there any perceived holes or weaknesses, or do you like what you see of this 4?
Well, the JT Miller one for me. I mean, he hasn't played well all year. So, and is Vincent Trocheck an extra there?
Yeah, Trocheck in practice was
extras or not.
So Trocheck was kind of going through with those guys on the 4th line.
Yeah, but I also saw I think it was Mike Russo's tweet. I saw his tweet that it was actually Trocheck was rotating with Nelson too on that. Not going through all 4. So yeah,
there could be that change for sure.
And everyone's going to play in these first 3 games. I think it'd be silly not to do that.
Well, especially if you're worried about Jack Hughes not having. I mean, they say he's healthy, but he sat out the last 3 games. So
you also get to dress for IIHF. You also get to dress. You have to get to dress additional body as well. So,
right.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Let's look at Canada because the other perceived superpower of these
top line,
Olympics.
Man.
I mean, I want to point something out if people are looking at this. If you're listening to the audio version, I'll have to sort of describe it here. But on each line, Tom Wilson is on the top line with McDavid and Celebrini. Brad Marchand is with McKinnon and Suzuki. Mark Stone with Crosby and Marner. Brendan Hagel and or Sam Reinhart with Bo Horvat. Luds, there is somebody tough and physical on each of those lines, and that's not by accident.
Nope. That's, again, you can remember when we asked Doug Armstrong and Billy Guerin about, playing against the U.S. and assembling your lineup. No, we just know the best stuff. Bullshit. They're prepared for the game against the U.S. and they're going to say that we are going to push you out of the fight. And I believe that we're probably not going to see the same opening as we did in the Four Nations. See, we have 4 seasons here, by the way, and I'm in the nicer one.
That's right. Nice catch.
Yeah, so I think don't miss that game. And the one question I want to ask, and Sean will probably know this for sure, what is the how they qualify that they will use NHL referees? Is it got to be 50% or more of NHL guys in a game, or what was that? Does anybody know that answer?
I think it was. I think of the referees. I think it was something where like 60% of them had NHL experience. I think I'd have to double.
Sean, when I had heard Elliot Friedman say if more than half of the rosters combined are NHL players, I believe that's what it was. And that I have the list of there are 12 referees and 10 linesmen. The NHL referees at this tournament: Gordy Dwyer, who is based out of, I think he lives in Frisco. So he's here a lot. Wes McCauley, Dan O'Rourke, Brian Pochmara, Chris Rooney. Those are the NHL referees. And then they have the same amount of IIHF ones that we don't know because we're not used to seeing.
Are they saying, though, when they say that about the 50% or more, are they saying that would be an entire crew of NHL people or just they're going to have an NHL 2 referees?
That's a great question.
That is
I don't even know if they
question.
have linesmen, two separate
know.
linesmen there either. I'll have to look that up.
Well, they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 5 NHL linesmen over there along with
So it
IHF.
should be, I'd imagine it's all a full NHL crew then if they're.
That's a good. I don't
They're
but
doing
I
it,
don't
but
know.
I'd have to-
Yeah,
I'd have to
we'd
confirm
have
it. I don't know
to
that.
do some research.
I
on
did.
that.
I did see a couple different reports. I don't know which one's accurate, but I saw some where Harley and Dowdy were skating together as they
Well, go ahead and
as
throw
a
up
third
the
pairing,
Canada group
and
again.
Theodore
there, Ryan.
Sanheim were behind them. So we'll never know. We won't know until they play. But I'm really curious to see how they do that because it would feel
that's
weird
an
for
interesting
Dowdy
question,
to be out.
right? What do you think, Luds, as our resident defenseman? Theodore, obviously an excellent player. Travis Sanheim is a good player too, but Dowdy and Harley had some chemistry at Four Nations.
Yeah, I could see where, going in that could be your fourth pair. Doughty, everybody's admitted Drew's not the same guy as he was the last time around, but he is a leader in that whole group, and we know where Thomas was, and I think if Thomas would have started the season, and I know he's getting better as we've gone along here, if he'd have started the season the way he played in Four Nations, he would, to me, he'd be in that top six.
Agreed.
But I just think that show me. And again, like Sean said earlier, everybody's going to get an opportunity to get in there and show them what you have. I just don't know that if you're going to read something into the first three games that Canada has and say, oh, yeah, this guy can play. He should be playing ahead of somebody else. In those
I'm
first
curious.
I will say,
I'm curious to see who they dress to. Is the extra, as Sean said, are teams going to dress a defenseman or a forward more often?
That's
a great.
To me,
I do
would be a
think.
forward.
Yeah, Luds, I do think at least Canada there's at least tests for Canada defensively. Like Canada's going to win those games, but like they're playing the Czechs. The Czechs are going to have NHL players. The Czechs there's at least some tests for the Canadian defense. The U.S. there's absolutely
Right.
Other than the German game, there's really not much of anything where you're like, this is actionable intel for how we need to play. Yeah. So it's
but shouldn't that be a concern a little bit? Like I think you need to get put. And again, I know that when they're going to play Canada, levels come up. But just kind of tap dancing through those first. I just don't think it's good.
And realistically, they're not going to get they're going to when they do play their next game. Hopefully, they get a bye. Right, their quarterfinal is not going to be super easy. It's not going to be Latvia, so they got to be ready to play quarterfinal. And then
they could
somebody
end up
pretty good,
playing
somebody pretty good again.
A team like Switzerland or Czechia,
even Finland, something like that, depending on how it goes.
Yeah, depending on how that goes. So. Yeah, be interesting to see.
To watch.
All right, up next, let's take a look at some of the other teams. We'll look at Finland, we'll look at Sweden, and then maybe the Czechs, because we're keeping an eye on the Stars Olympians here as we preview the men's tournament and the Olympics on DLLS. All right.
Barely got to that
Me
break.
first, then you get to finish this time.
Ha!
I know. Yeah. That sounded.
Come on, that was great. That was
Let's
great.
didn't even listen. It's a good thing,
That
too.
was great. And I had Swedish meatballs yesterday.
Okay.
It all comes back together.
Wild Fork, great. This is about the big game Die Hard sale, which is still available today only. Last day of this whole last week, we had a 60% off Die Hard membership sale for new members, which is continuing through today. After today, it's gone. So it's a huge savings. Usually it's $79.99 for a Die Hard membership for the year. This is just $32. Huge. I mean, you should be getting this because that's less than the price of one t-shirt, which you get for free when you sign up for your first year. Pick a Stars shirt. It'll be great. Plus, you get access to everything that we do here at DLS, whether it's the writing that Sam does or other beats, or discounts on events, discounts on merchandise, access to the Die Hard Discord lounge. You can't beat it. Speaking of being a Die Hard, Sam?
Yes, there are plenty of reasons to be a Die Hard. Owen just brought up a couple. I was writing an article almost until the point that we started our show today.
You were busy up there.
That article is Die Hard only. So if you want to read about how the Stars are buying into the system and all the progress they've made going to the break, become a Die Hard. But you also get articles from Sean, all the other people, as Owen was just talking about. But it's also a better reading experience because you don't get ads. So all the flow of the reading is simple. It looks clean. You get 20% off merch. You get 20% off events, which I know we're having soon. I actually don't know we're having soon, but I believe we are going to have.
We had a great takeover.
They've been so successful and so much fun. We have just embarrassed the Mavs crew. Hopefully, some of them are here listening.
I think they left.
Well, bummer.
I know.
But it's a lot of fun. We do a lot of cool events. We have the Discord where I'll post questions. I'm going to do a mailbag article at the end of this week for Die Hard only. We post stuff in there for events so that you get the first access. So scan that QR code or go to alldls.com/diehard right now.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Let's take a look as we bring Luds and Sean back on the screen. Let's take a look at Finland because this is the nation that has the most Dallas Stars representing And look, it's not just Dallas, but it's basically the playoff line. Mikael Granlund, who was named captain of Finland yesterday,
well deserved,
along with Rope Hintz and Mikko Rantanen up front. We were not surprised to see that trio playing together. Then you have Esa Lindell, Miro Heiskanen as the top pairing of defense. Honestly, they have a very good group. Luds, I know you're a big fan of the Florida Panthers duo, Luostarinen and Lundell. They'll play with Capo Caco. These guys I think they were really disappointed, and I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but they were not happy with their showing at the Four Nations. Yeah. Probably even more so than Sweden. I know Sweden wasn't thrilled, but they have something to prove.
Yes, and they should. This is a benefit for these teams of playing more games. Like for a Finland or a Sweden that's more of a depth team that needs to play the right way. Finland's always known to play the right way. Right? They play hard. They play really structured. They play sound. They try to take advantage of turnovers and push the other way. They're never going to keep up with the speed and stuff of the U.S. and Canadian teams. But for a team like this that needs to play a system, it's important to play games. Four Nations, you played so fast, and all of a sudden, boom, you're either out of it or you're getting killed in that round, and then all of a sudden, it's just the gold medal game or the championship game, whatever they called it. You get more chance to prove it and more of a chance to kind of build up. This is a team, Finland and Sweden, they're not going to have the top level skill. Like they have the top guys are as good as the other top guys. The depth is where it comes into play, where Canada's fourth line is a bunch of superstars. Finland's fourth line is more of a grinder kind of type. They have to play the right way, but I'm really, really excited to watch this team play.
What do you think, fellas?
Well, for me, Finland, they play with a lot of structure, really good structure. You know, Yuri Lehtinen, obviously. I mean, that's kind of been the MO that they've started with, and Let's has been around there. But I just think that they're hard to play against. You don't get a lot of quality scoring chances. I think what they do is they frustrate teams, and that's where they hang around long enough. And if they get the goaltending, and score that goal at the proper time, that's where they can upset somebody. I don't know about the goal between Saros and Lankinen. I'm not sure about either one of those guys.
Sean, what do you think about the not mentally distracted Mikko Rantanen like he was last year because he had just been traded and trying to figure out what his future was going to be, and having him and a healthy Miro Heiskanen, both of which they didn't huge. Have at the Four Nations last year?
I think the Miro thing is the thing we're a Dallas Stars show, and I don't know how we didn't lead with that. I mean, this team had Esa Lindell running the second power play unit for Four Nations last year. And all due respect to Esa, but Esa had 16 total minutes of, I looked it up earlier today, last season, Esa had 16 total minutes of power play time for the Dallas Stars across 82 games. So that's and that's just like garbage power play time. And then he had 4.5 minutes of power play time with Finland. So I think that's having Miro and having him just, we see what he's done for the Stars. Just imagine what he's going to do for this Finnish team that was missing him last year. That to me is the biggest thing. I'm not really worried about Mikko and being distracted one way or the other. It's that defense is so much better now. And on top of that, and this is from a Miro perspective, this is a guy who we know he's a very private person. He keeps everything quiet. This is something he's been looking forward to for a long time. He was obviously he was really disappointed about having to watch this tournament at home from sitting on his couch after having knee surgery last year. He's someone who, this will be Miro's second Olympics. He was there in 2018 as still a Stars prospect. He's someone who in 2022, he and Mikael Granlund were part of that Finnish team that won the World Championships in Finland. This is a big opportunity for Miro to go not only just for his country, but for, I think, just this is the moment. The one thing that I think that that Miro lost last year by missing Four Nations injury wise was, I thought there was respect to be gained for Miro's game, and I think people who understand hockey, they don't have any. There's no lack of respect from people who are big hockey fans when it comes to Miro, but I think from the general populace, he has fallen into this this second tier that I don't think he should be in. I think all of these people, I saw something the other day where I'll even call, I think it was our CHGO counterparts or whatever. They did pick your all Olympic lineup for $15 and I can get Miro Heiskanen for $2. I'm this is and they had Miro that low on the pecking order. So I think and they also were really low on Mo Sider too. So we could have a whole discussion about their view on what defensemen actually impact games.
Come on, guys.
But the whole matter is, like, I think Miro, this tournament, after him not being there last year, what he's going to do for Finland, I think there's going to be, for him, there's a huge opportunity here from a lot of anyone who ever doubted what he does is going to see firsthand now of what he brings and everything like that. So I think that's the biggest thing. So I'm hoping for, I'm excited for him for that too. Like, I know that's something that he's a very private person. He hasn't talked much about it, but I do know that it is something, and I've talked to some other the Finnish players on the Stars about this. They know Miro is, he's amped up for this.
I think
Luds, how
Sean
many
was-
minutes is he going to play?
It's a coming out party on the world stage. That's what this should be for Miro.
All right, let's get to Sweden. We'll give Luds the first crack of this because he loves some Erik Karlsson. But actually, when you look at this group, Luds, especially the defense, they're pretty balanced. If I don't know how healthy and strong Victor Hedman is, but I have to say that blue line, that's pretty impressive coming for Sweden.
I agree. You can whatever you think of Carlson, but and again, if this rink is a little bit smaller and you're playing against some heavier bodies, especially U.S. and Canada, that's where he may give you a couple gift wrap presents. But to me, this is another team that is going to be nibbling around the edges a little bit. But I agree with the defenseman. And the big thing is, you mentioned it, is how good is Hedman going to be? Because that first game back that I somehow I ended up watching that game. Well, maybe that was that winter game, but he did not look good in that game, in my opinion. They were going with 7D that night either, so I don't think he had a real good rotation going. But hopefully he plays better.
I'm excited to see how this. I hope I'm wrong because I love watching Sweden play. But from their forwards, they don't look as hard to play against.
Well, for our audio listeners, why don't you read them off for the lines real quick?
Okay, so top line for Sweden, we got Adrian Kempe with Joel Eriksson Ek and William Nylander, and then Philip Forsberg, Elias Lindholm, and Lucas Raymond, Ricard Raquel, Elias Pettersson, and Mika Zibanejad, and then captain, well-deserved, and so happy to see him back, Gabriel Landeskog, with Pontus Holmberg and Jesper Bratt as the top four forward lines.
That's all NHL.
It's a lot of NHL, but it's a lot of skill instead of, I know you don't just need to build out. Sean talks about the Miracle on Ice team that's built the right way, but the other teams to me look, the Finland, the US, Canada, look a little harder to play against. Yes,
right?
He's
is powerful.
Correct.
Who else of that group can play that way?
Kempe has a little bit of edge, but
little.
The rest of it to me is a very skilled, very offensive group.
That
was going to have trouble defending the other teams.
Sean, they've got good goalies, Gustafsson and Markstrom. They have two good options there up front. But do you have any concern about the physicality of this group?
When they play Canada or the United States.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's also, in Canada and the Canada's the favorite, right? But I look at that team and I think I'm not as concerned about it over the course of the tournament. Quick note, just because, credit to Robert Tiffin for being my crack research team that supports me while I'm doing live shows like this. You actually get to dress 20 skaters, so you don't have to make the decision of whether you're going to go an extra forward.
Oh,
or D.
you
can have one of each.
So you could you could also you could dress 4 pairs of D even if you wanted to.
Yep.
So you have the ability to dress 20
Hey, Luds,
skaters. Real
real quick on that. Would that make sense to have 8 defensemen dressed as opposed to 7, or does that make it even worse?
No, these guys are all look at the guys that are there. They're all used to playing big minutes, and you start taking 3-4 minutes away a game. I think the rhythm and the flow for those guys aren't what they're going to enjoy.
One thing
just
on
real
that,
quick.
And I have a follow up on that. One of the things that when Finland goes at World Junior, Finland was very adamant that the extra dressed player was just a dressed healthy scratch, and they never touched the ice. It was the coach actually even said that. He said, "We'll dress him and we'll have him in case of an injury, but that player doesn't leave the bench." And so that's something that it's how different teams have used it differently. So.
All right, just real quick, guys. We don't have a lineup for Germany yet. We're excited to see, of course, Draisaitl, Tim Stützle, Moritz Seider. Maybe they can surprise some teams. Latvia as in
Philip
the past.
Grubauer.
Grubauer,
In that. They actually
yep.
have an NHL goaltender who's playing decently well now. So
Switzerland isn't very deep, but their top two lines are NHL guys, and they have a top pairing with Siegenthaler and Yossi. Of course, Moser plays for Tampa. So there's something there, and they could be a handful for teams. But I wanted
there's also
to do
something
this.
missing. There's something missing too that could have been there if there had
Yeah,
been.
Leon Bischel should be on that group, no doubt. But Sean, this is for you. Let's take a look at the Czechia lineup because, well, they are missing Pavel Zacha. That's a big loss for them. He was injured a couple days before the end of the NHL stretch of the schedule. Look at the fourth line. So for you, if you're listening to this later, Mate Stronsky, Radek Faksa, and Dominik Kubalik. If you don't know, Stronsky and Faksa were on the same line when the Texas Stars won the 2014 Calder Cup title, AHL championship, 12 years ago. And Sean, I love that they're being reunited for this tournament.
Do you remember the third member of that line, Owen? You remember who it was?
Oh, geez. That wasn't Kevin Henderson, was it?
Yes, it was. Ding, ding, ding. Kevin Henderson. We should get him
Wow.
on the show. That would be a good guess. That would be a good pull. I'll see if I have his number. We'll see if I can reach him.
Oh,
But
but anyway,
Kevin Henderson.
The Czechs are going to be good, and they have some good players, but and great goaltending. Dostal and Vladar. Yes. I just don't know if they have the depth up front, and losing Zacha really, really hurt.
There is also, from the Czech perspective, and then I will shut up so we can end the show. The Czech perspective, they felt very jilted by not being part of the Four Nations. It was one of those things where they were very vocal about the fact that they went and won Worlds that year, actually right after that. So from a Czech perspective, I know this is a little bit of a opportunity to prove a bit of a point that maybe it should have been a Five Nations tournament last year, not a Four Nations tournament.
Good. Go beat Canada.
All right, Luds, lastly for you, of our preview, I know the games start on Wednesday. The U.S.'s first game is Thursday. What are you looking for in the round robin? What are you most excited to watch?
I'm most excited to see if I make it back to be able to watch the games. I'm to be totally honest with you, I'm not. I guess I'm more excited to see the big difference. What the goal differential is in the game. By the way, does goal differential come into play with this? Goals for, goals against in any scenarios?
Sean?
For seeding it does. Yeah, for seeding it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So goals matters in this.
Yeah. Some of these teams, and again, it's not about embarrassing your opponents, but it may be something that comes into play.
All right. For Sean, for Luds.
2-0 U.S. women's.
Oh, they scored again against Switzerland. Great.
Joy done.
He's Sam. I'm Owen for our producer, Ryan. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with Luds. Sean will be back on the show on Wednesday as we keep on rolling. Can't wait to get to those first men's games on Wednesday. They'll have been played, I think, started at least when we were on live on Wednesday. So have a great rest of your Monday. We'll see you tomorrow here on the DLLS Stars Podcast.
The dude is cooked right now.
We all silly like the mayor.